Hi, and welcome back to Bump Love. We continue our conversation on weaning. We're completely enjoying your questions, and so because of that, we have a guest here, Esther Joanita Naluguza. She's a nutritionist and an infant and child feeding counselor. Welcome to the show, Esther.
Thank you.
Now, first things first, foundations. What is weaning, and when is the right time to start?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me on this show. To begin with, weaning is a process. It's a process of stopping breastfeeding your baby and introducing solid foods. So it's not a one-time, a one-time event. It's a process that occurs in the lifetime of a baby. Yes, and well, the starting point of weaning is the time when we introduce semi-solid foods to the child, and it's a process that we call complementary feeding. Complementary feeding is a process of introducing other foods other than breast milk. In addition to breast milk, you feed the baby other foods that are nutritious. You have to underline the word nutritious. Yes,
there are people who are
for the baby.
There are people here.
Yeah, and when is the right time to start? Well, the World Health Organization, our own Ministry of Health, and other health agencies recommend strongly that a child has to be breastfed exclusively for the first 6 months of life, and then at the sixth completed month, then the child can be introduced to additional foods. And so if you're talking about starting weaning, what I already mentioned, the complementary feeding process has to start at 6 months. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, well, you had our experiences from the last episode, and you've worked with different moms, from across Uganda.
Yeah.
What has been your experience working with mothers, regarding the weaning process?
Well, I could say in our country we are different.
Yeah.
We have different classes of women. The mothers living in urban settings live quite differently from those that are living in the communities or in rural settings. So different mothers have different experiences, weaning their babies or feeding their babies. While a mother, let's say in the urban setting, may be able to afford Cerelac or yogurt, a mother in the community may not. But what we usually advise mothers to do is to use what they locally have, what they can locally access. If a mother can access maize flour, she can access millet. We teach her how to mix that food and make it nutritious for her baby to feed. Yeah.
Okay.
So different women have different experiences.
Weaning their children. Okay, so while we were reading and preparing for this show, we discovered that weaning can happen naturally or it can be planned by the mom. So some children will lean more towards, they'll see their parents eating and they'll probably want to share in their food. Are there signs that a baby is ready to wean, and how can a mom know what those signs are?
Okay, without contradicting what I said earlier in terms of the timing to start complementary feeds, you can tell that a child is actually ready to feed. Mothers all experience it, even caregivers. There are moments where the mother is not around, but there's a caregiver taking care of a baby. So when a child is able to sit up straight, they're able to control their head very well without much support. And maybe when you're feeding, you see the child reaching out for other family members' food. Yes. And actually, many women, when the baby gets to like 5 months, they are tempted. The temptation is so heavy to feed the baby some food, because the baby literally grabs the cup, the spoon. But it takes a lot of discipline and knowing the benefits of exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months for a mother to wait and actually getting that confidence within her, and to know that my breast milk is enough for this baby. It's going to help her to prevent her from getting diseases and infections. She's going to be a brilliant girl, a brilliant boy if exclusively breastfed. And it's also saving my money because I'm not going to have to spend money buying infant formula for the baby, charcoal, you know, to cook. And the time, you know, I can wait until the baby makes 6 months. As long as I'm breastfeeding this baby frequently, I will have enough milk. So it's about building the mother's confidence.
No, I understand the strictness, and coming from a health, you know, nutritionist particularly, you'd always want to be strict and abide by a milestone, a mark. But like many other things that have been demystified in motherhood, wouldn't you agree that, fine, yours, I agree, exclusive breastfeeding, 6 months, I am all for that entirely. But if your child is accepting a food, a child will not accept that solid maybe at 1 month. But if your child is accepting that solid at 5 months, isn't that your child telling you that it's all right, fine, there's literature, and there's an expert, and people have researched for years and years and found out, but we live in a dynamic world, an evolving world. I don't understand how that 6 months mark is exact for each and every child in the entire universe. Is there no single flexibility or exception where I am able to, you know, to relax and say, you know what?
5 months and 3 weeks.
At 5 months, and 2 weeks maybe.
Meanwhile, meanwhile, she said it's at the end of the 6 months.
So
it's actually at 7 months that you start.
No, not exactly 7 months. When they clock 6 months.
At the when you said at the beginning.
Yes, when they make 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So expertise aside, now as a mom, you live now ministry. For you, how do you feel when you put that together?
Yeah,
your
so
knowledge?
Unfortunately, I can't jump out of
ministry,
me because I have been groomed, I have been trained, you know, and I appreciate the benefits of exclusive breastfeeding. I can compare, you know, for the children who, I have 3 girls, so for the child who I did not manage because of circumstances, to exclusively breastfeed, if I compare with the other children, with the other 2 girls, you could see the difference in terms of health, in terms of infections and all that. Yes.
So clearly, a don't start before 6 months.
Yeah.
So what are the do's and don'ts that maybe moms and dads can take from weaning, from the process of weaning? I'm sure there are common mistakes we make. And what would you advise are the do's to, you know, transition through that process easily and effectively, and the don'ts? Clearly, the first don't is don't start before 6 months.
Don't start before 6 months.
Yes, and we really we stand by that position, and actually promote it at national level. Offices, we encourage people to set up lactation rooms, to set up you know, designated places to allow mothers to practice the exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months. So in terms of the do's, I would say, when you're beginning to introduce foods that is complementary feeding, begin with semi-solid foods. You can begin with semi-solid foods, but actually start with milk now, like
cow milk.
You can start with cow's milk, then you get into the semi-solids, including the porridges. But even when we are talking about porridges, we encourage mothers not to feed their babies with thin porridges. We encourage mothers to feed their babies with thick porridges. Thick. So that is where I think we would have had a practical, you know, and say, okay, now this is a good consistency. Because what we are looking at is the baby growing. You know, the period that the baby is in, their metabolic rate is really high, and they need nutrients, a lot of nutrients. So if a mother mixes, let's say, a porridge in a cup and puts a lot of water, the baby's stomach can only hold a certain amount that is small. So if you've diluted that porridge, it means the baby will have more of water and a few of the nutrients compared to what they actually need. So that's why we encourage the thick versus the thin. So I was saying we start with the semi-solids, and then be gentle be gentle with yourself and also be gentle with the baby. I watched your earlier episode where Rosette was saying, don't, you know, you bring a stick and you're like, eat. You know,
must gain weight.
you have to gain weight. It is nutritious. It's this. It is bodybuilding. Baby doesn't understand bodybuilding. Make eating time fun time. You know, let it be a fun time. I like the what Manuela shared about letting the baby feed and play with the food. What mothers have to do is to ensure that their environment is very clean, especially for such children who are beginning to feed. Mothers and caregivers, because most of us leave the babies with the caregiver to go and work. So we need to teach the caregivers how to ensure that the environment, the feeding environment is clean, because babies know how to pour. You know, like from my experience, you put food on the baby's plate, the baby prefers to pour it down and then eat that one which is
the one that's
on the floor, or play with it, you know. So the environment really has to be very clean as much as possible. You need to introduce one food at a time, one new food at a time. I always encourage my friends and other mothers not to feed the children on one type of, let's say, one type of porridge for like a long time. Let's say you're feeding the baby on only Cerelac, or you're feeding the baby on only rice porridge, because children get tired. In terms of those feeding dynamics, make it, if for the first 3 days you've been feeding the baby rice porridge, then maybe the next 3 days you can bring millet or the Cerelac, things like that. But at the start with one new thing at a time. Baby's feeding time should be baby's feeding time. Be there, supervise, sing for the baby, clap, you know, encourage.
It's an experience.
You know? Oh, you're
Stimulate.
doing well, good job, good job. Then you see the baby also enjoying to feed themselves and also to feed from your hand or your.
That's why
or
it's wise
spoon.
to eat with the baby, so that you're
Yeah.
all eating.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
The don't?
The don't.
Any other don't
Apart from don't feed before, don't win before 6 months on the mark.
Yeah, I think I talked about not being very hard on yourself in terms of.
Yes, you did.
But also, do not start with very solid, like the solid hard foods.
Yes.
Sometimes we encourage mothers to prepare, let's say, what we call chitovero for the babies. So you need to know that from the baby starting from 6 to, let's say, 9 months or 6 to 8 months, the food has to be mashed to avoid the choking hazards and the baby choking. Some mothers like giving babies these bananas, the small little bananas.
Yes.
What are they called?
We call them ndizi.
Ndizi. Kabalagala.
Kabalagala, yes, that's how I know them.
So, and then the baby walks around with this kabalagala, that little banana. Such a baby between, let's say 6 to 9 months can't eat that whole banana. He can easily bite a huge piece and then it gets choked. And the other thing that we discourage mothers to do is putting thick, porridges in bottles and feeding the baby, using the bottle porridge.
They make the hole on the cover
bigger.
Yes.
They widen it.
They widen it.
Yeah. It can easily choke that baby. We encourage mothers to use a cup and a spoon, to feed their baby.
So the feeding material should be
we always have to-
apparatus. Yes.
Okay, so you've spoken about the apparatus and all of the things around it. You've spoken about some foods, but this is a 6-month mark. My child is making 6 months tomorrow. I'm going to the market to prepare for this 6-month weaning. The process is starting. What would you encourage me to buy from the market? Like, what foods should I start with?
Okay. I would encourage you to start with milk.
Okay.
And then you can shop for the cereals.
Okay.
And then you can shop for eggs.
Oh.
You can shop for don't be afraid to shop meat or liver for that baby.
Okay.
The trick is in how to prepare it.
Puree it, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. You need to puree, like the meats, puree them. Now when I say puree, I'm thinking about my mother in the community.
In the community, yes.
And yeah.
So for us in the village, what we do is to scrape. We scrape the meat. We ask this mother to get a clean knife, get her meat, get a fist of the meat, and then scrape it. In Uganda, tuchita kukolokota. Okay. And we sing even a song. The mother is encouraged to sing a song. Kolokota, kolokota.
Kolokota.
And then when she's scraping, the meat actually comes off very soft and spongy.
Okay.
And then she can mix it in let's say ginat. And then she makes a meal for the baby with Irish potato, chopped Irish potato within the same thing, and then steams everything together. It needs a practical for us to do it very well.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I say buy meat, buy liver, it's not like the baby is going to eat the whole piece of meat. No, there's a way in which you need to prepare it.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, in terms of preparing the porridges can be enriched. The reason why I'm saying you can shop for eggs is because you can prepare your maize porridge and get an egg, beat the egg within the cup of porridge and feed your baby. If you do not have money to buy milk. That's what I'm saying. You're enriching.
Gotcha.
You're enriching the porridge.
Okay.
Mukene is very, very nutritious. Many women don't like it because of its smell. I can see Pumla shaking.
Like shaking her head.
Yeah, and I think many mothers have denied the benefit that is within that mukene to their children just because for them they don't like it. And I really tell mothers to think about the baby. Think about the benefit that this baby is going to get from this. It's a whole thing, because when you grind it, you have the calcium in there, you have your protein, you have your iron, everything is within it. And so you can just mix, get a teaspoon of your mukene flour, mix it within the baby's porridge, cook it together, and it's very, very nutritious. Very nutritious for the baby.
Kafunguma is nutritious, but
do we eat it?
Do we eat
Yeah. So in terms of weaning, like I said, it's a weaning. It's a process. So do not take breast milk off the menu. Breast milk remains.
Wow, the menu.
Yes.
The menu, yes.
It has to remain until when the baby makes 2 years and beyond. I add the word and beyond because you're free to breastfeed your baby up to 3 years. The baby is going to school, come back, ask, Mommy, can I have Nana? My kids would call it Nana. So, they can say, Mommy, Nana. I didn't reach 3 years. I went up to like 2 years.
Thank you, Esther. So how can a mom balance breastfeeding and solids at the same time?
Okay. Well, that's a good question because many mothers actually struggle. And I heard you guys on the previous show, someone saying, the moment they started feeding, I was like, hallelujah. But like I said, don't take off breast milk off the menu. So you need to balance it. But the most important thing we encourage mothers to do is breastfeed fast, especially for the 6 to 9 months. Between 6 to 9 months. Breastfeed fast, and then you can feed the baby on these other at the time of introducing. So at the time of introducing solids, you need to start small. Like the child at exactly 6 months, the child may take 1 meal. And that day when they make, you can do 1 meal and then breastfeed the whole day. As then you keep on increasing between 2 to 3 meals a day as the baby grows older.
Wow, thank you so much, Esther. So many questions have been answered, but if your question hasn't been answered, please ask the questions. Esther will be on our Facebook page answering all your questions, and guess what? She's not leaving. She'll be coming back over and over again every time we have to talk about children and nutrition. So don't stop asking those questions. Also, I need to remind you that there was an episode that we did in the DM with Pearl Kwezi Kachitahi on this exact topic. So watch out. We'll put the link in our bio right now so you can check out that particular episode for even more information. Now, we can't wait to see you in your comment section. If you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I don't know, where are you? What are you doing? It's 2021. Hit the notification bell, leave a comment. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, with love from Bump Love.